Welcome to this week's edition of Hawk's Nest. I'm your host, Mark Rogan. I'm joined by my esteemed guest,
Caleb Hoggard. Nice to meet everybody.
and my co-host,
Matt Cagle.
We're coming at you from Rose Theater today. Temporary studio setup for right now. We were going to shoot it in Rust, but technical difficulties, stuff happens. So next week should look a little different, but I am super excited to talk about sports this week. There is so much happening in the wide world of sports. If we talked about everything, this show would be like 40 minutes long because there's blockbuster trades in the NBA, NHL, Super Bowl 57 coming up. So let's get right into it. Starting with Super Bowl 57. Caleb, why don't you give us your locks for the week?
First off, gentlemen, I just want to say it's a great honor being here.
It's a pleasure having you.
Super Bowl 57, the Kelsey Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl, whatever you want to call it. It is going to be a high-scoring game. Great players, great teams, both one seed out of each division. It's going to be awesome. I was looking at my locks on DraftKings, and the over-under was sitting at 50.5. What are we feeling about that?
Pounding the over immediately. Immediately the over. This is going to be a high-scoring, high-octane game. Taking the over on that 9 days out of the week. Yes, 7 days out of the week.
Two of the best offenses in the league, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Why wouldn't you take the over?
I agree with you, but at the same time, I feel like there's some things that we have to take into consideration. First things first, the MVP curse is real.
Oh, my God,
We
dude.
saw it with Matty Ice in the Super Bowl with the
Are you
Falcons and
serious?
Patriots. Listen, please. All I'm saying, Patrick Mahomes has been nothing but dominant in the playoffs. Nothing but dominant. He has executed, performed at the highest of highs. Everybody can argue that Jalen Hurts had a little bit of a cakewalk with the Giants and going up against the fifth-string quarterback for the 49ers. But that offense is still lethal. That offense is still going to give you 30 points. But do I see the Chiefs putting up 14, 20 points?
Yes.
No, I don't. Against that esteemed defense, I see Patrick Mahomes maybe throwing for 250 and a touchdown and 2 interceptions.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. I think Mahomes has another masterclass this Super Bowl. I think there's no way they don't score at least 21. I'm taking the over on that every day of the week.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, but,
Okay.
That's agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree on that one. All right.
So, gentlemen, we both agree regardless, the game is going to be electrifying, enjoyable.
Absolutely.
The main thing that I want to focus on now is, because this is where you're going to get your big bets and your big money from. What are your odds on Super Bowl MVPs? If you obviously say quarterback, your payout's not going to be as great because that's what most people are going to be betting their money on. So, who would you say would be your Super Bowl MVP locks?
My lock, got to be Patty Mahomes. League of the MVP, League of the Super Bowl, just makes sense. I think the Eagles do win it, but I think Patty gets the MVP on this one.
So Patty is actually sitting at the lowest with a over of 120.
Really?
So obviously you and a lot of other individuals think that. Matt, what are your thoughts on Super Bowl MVP?
If I were to not pick a quarterback, I would pick Travis Kelce. I feel like that Patrick Mahomes is going to may have a little bit of what we might call a lackluster game to Patrick Mahomes' standards because of that Eagles defense. But I feel like if he gets the ball to Travis Kelce, he can take over for that offense and he could find his way to a Super Bowl victory and an MVP.
Travis Kelce has obviously proven himself as one of the most dominant receivers in postseason history.
Ever.
It could arguably be mentioned as the greatest tight end ever. But
he's on the right to have that conversation.
Oh yeah,
100%. If he's not first, he's top 3.
And Travis Kelce is actually sitting at a 1,200 over, so your payout would be fairly nice if you were to bet him as the Super Bowl MVP. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to be listing off a few things, and you tell me if you'd be placing bets on these to occur. Any player to return a punt or kickoff for a touchdown?
Nah.
No.
Really?
No.
I can definitely see something like that occurring because, especially with the Eagles, and here's why. Their receiving man, I believe it's Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell has been phenomenal in special teams this season, and, I just feel like someone's going to slip up, and that's going to be a make-or-break possession in the game. So I would actually take that.
You take it?
I think I would.
Okay.
But you don't think that they're going to put enough emphasis on special teams to make sure that doesn't happen?
No, I think leading up to this game, the Kansas City Chiefs have obviously they're not the greatest on defense. I think we can all agree to that they're not even a top 5 defense in this NFL. That is why they have been putting a lot of focus on their defense because they are going up against number 1 or number 2 offense. So with that, my little betting mind tells me, there's a little crack there.
Okay.
And then
all right.
boom.
I'm gonna have to take your word on that one. I would not put any money on a punt return.
Well, all I'm saying is if you got 50 bones laying around and you just feel feisty,
Feeling lucky?
put it down, man.
All right.
So, last thing I kind of want to talk about because I feel like this is a very underrated bet throughout the year. There's actually a higher chance for one of these two as well. The coin toss. I feel like that one does
now
not-
we're talking about what's important.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm taking tails. I'm taking tails all day, every day.
Is there a reason behind that?
No, it's a 50-50, is it not? You said there was a higher chance that one happens.
Exactly.
What's the
Tails
logic behind that?
Tails is sitting at 120 over.
Wow.
Heads is sitting at 100. So everybody's thinking that heads might hit.
Everybody's thinking heads. Okay.
I agree with the heads pick because I believe it's actually been studied before that the head side of the Super Bowl coin is normally heavier than the other side, than the tail side.
Really?
Matt,
I've never heard that.
Let me tell you this. I have a few words to tell you. Tails never fails. I'm taking tails. I'm taking tails.
Okay.
Those are my locks, man.
The locks?
Those are
Okay,
my
those are the locks. All right, you heard it here first. Those are Caleb Hoggard's locks for the Super Bowl. Moving on, we got the NBA. The NBA has underwent some massive shakeups this week. I mean, I woke up to KD to the Suns. I mean, that's a blockbuster trade that we haven't seen in the NBA in years. Caleb, what are your thoughts on that?
The Suns needed to do something. After these past few seasons, the Suns have obviously had something that could get them to the playoffs, but it just feels like when they get there, D-Book just crumbles. And with them trading off Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and a few second-round picks to get KD, the superstar, along with T.J. Warren, they have a beautiful starting five with CP3, Booker, Warren, Ayton, and Durant.
Caleb, is it too early to say that trade was an absolute fleece?
It would be. I feel like come the end of the season, whenever you see their finals, I feel like it's really actually going to come down to the postseason. Mm-hmm. If they make it to the finals and KD decides to stay one more season, I feel like then it's done a fleece. However, I can see people making the argument that the Kyrie Irving trade will be better in terms of the KD trade because, with KD went to the Nets and Kyrie was there, James Harden was there, everybody was expecting championship run. Right. Everybody was.
Well, the superstar experiment in Brooklyn is now over.
It absolutely is. And poor Ben Simmons is left all by his lonesome.
All by his lonesome.
But, that's just going to happen.
Moving on to the World Baseball Classic. Matt will have more for you on that. Matt, what is Team USA looking like this year?
Team USA is stacked. They've got a lineup that includes Mike Trout, Nolan Arenado, and Paul Goldschmidt, the two of which Paul Goldschmidt won MVP and Nolan Arenado was third. That team is stacked and ready to win their second World Baseball Classic tournament in a row. But the Dominican Republic team is absolutely loaded with talent. They have an infield that includes Robbie Cano, Rafael Devers, Wander Franco, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Manny Machado, Ketel Marte, Jeremy Pena, and Gene Segura. And to go along with that, their pitching is stacked as well. Guys like Luis Garcia, Christian Javier, Gregory Soto, and Rafael Montero. That team is ready to take the victory away from Team USA. That's a loaded team.
I'm just gonna say I think the Dominican Republic sounded better. I mean, with that pitching core is stacked to say the least, and then that infield, they're gonna be a tough team to beat.
The infield has a great mix of veteran players with these rookie players like Pena, but
Segura.
Yeah. There's obviously loads of talent. But you guys are really going to sit up here and go against Team USA?
I haven't made my pick yet.
I haven't made my pick yet.
You're accusing us of things we haven't done yet.
I will accuse anyone of anything.
Well, I think I'm going to take Team USA. I think the red, white, and blue is going to pull it out. We've got a phenomenal infield, good pitching. The pitching past the sixth inning is what's going to be the deciding factor for Team USA. We have a good front 3 or 4, but that back end is a little shaky. It's a little questionable. Whereas the Dominican Republic's solid up and down. But I think Team USA pulls it out with their overpowering offense.
I see Team USA winning. I see if they make it all the way to the finals, it's being hosted in the USA. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. They're going to feed off of it, and they're going to win their second straight World Baseball Classic title.
Well, gentlemen, it'd be really hard for me to go against you guys, so I'm going Team USA.
Red, white, and blue, baby. All right, for our last topic, we're going to talk a little bit about the NHL, a topic that's more familiar to me than my counterparts here. But it's a sad day for the St. Louis Blues fans. Vladimir Tarasenko has been traded to the New York Rangers in exchange for a conditional 2024 first-round pick. We get Sammy Blais back, and then I forget there was some defensive prospect that was a second-round pick, hasn't really panned out. Gentlemen, it's a sad day for me. Tarasenko was my favorite player growing up. He was someone I actually idolized. I actually got to meet him. He's super nice, super nice guy. Yeah. It needed to happen. It needed to happen, and I knew this day was coming. He requested a trade 2 years ago. People are saying that like this trade was an absolute fleece for the Rangers, and I have to disagree. Seattle, remember in the expansion draft 2 years ago, Seattle passed on him. Mm-hmm. So clearly his value wasn't high in the league anyway, and he requested a trade 2 years ago. So his value, it was amazing to me that they were even able to get a first rounder out of him. But this is probably the first step in a long rebuilding process for the Blues. Maybe not even a long rebuilding process, but a rebuilding or a reboot, whatever you want to call it, to be sure. I can see the next pieces going from the team are Ryan O'Reilly. He's a big contract. He hasn't been the player that he was in previous years, namely 2019. He's regressed. I see Ivan Barbashev. He's probably on his way out, and so is Nola Chari. But if we can trade all these players off, all of a sudden we have a couple million in cap space to work with. I think we're due for a rebuild. I think we're going to be a playoff team again in 2 or 3 years. So, with that'll conclude our first episode of Hawks Nest Pro Edition. If there's anything you'd like to see us talk about on our next edition, let me know. I don't know why I said that.
Hey, they're gonna let you know, man.
Yeah, let me
Let
know.
him know.
Let us know. We'll talk about
Where
it.
are they gonna let us know though?
The comment section.
Comments? Is there a comment section? Do we have a comment section?
I mean, I just don't understand how this is going to affect Braun's legacy. Regardless.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week.